5 most disturbing hunting encounters caught on camera. This is by Chilling Scares. I will leave a link down below to the original video. Let's pull this up. Let's watch it.
The Hunting Public is a DIY hunting channel based in Missouri. Their primary focus is to educate new and inexperienced hunters, and most of their content follows a very similar format built around that purpose.
Okay.
Their videos show the hunters going to different locations, finding the game, and usually completing the hunt by the end, all while explaining their thought process at each step in detail.
Bow hunting is so difficult. It's so difficult. I've seen so many videos of people doing it and just failing all the time because it's so difficult. Also, after living in America for 9 years and not going hunting once, kind of disappointed in myself that I didn't do that. I should have done it. I went ice fishing. I went fishing plenty of times, but I never went hunting once.
And the video they filmed on September 25, 2022 was meant to be no different. Two of the channel's hosts, Ted and Nick, were out bow hunting deer on public land in their home state.
Okay.
Little did they know, this trip was about to be cut short by the most disturbing encounter they've ever had in the wilderness.
Wonderful.
The incident happened at roughly 6:45 p.m. while the two were hiding in a tree, waiting for a deer, when, out of nowhere, they heard what sounded like a loud scream in the distance.
Oh my God. These are the creepy ones, aren't they? Do you know what always creeps me out? Appalachian stories. They creep me out. There's something about them Appalachian mountains that are just weird, right? Did you know millions and millions and millions of years ago, those Appalachian mountains were actually attached to the Scottish Highlands? Did you know that? Anyway, for some reason, there's some weird stuff that goes up in there, isn't there? It's like, have you ever watched Hellier, the TV show, or even the same people who made Hellier made a documentary called Unbound, I think it was called, or Unbounded. Oh my God, talk about creepy. Also, hunting in general, you're out in the woods on your own. Sometimes not on your own, but for the most part, most people are on their own. It's just creepy. It is creepy, isn't it? And also, why do American woodlands feel way creepier than European woodlands? What's all that about? Oh, mate, I'd be climbing down that tree and going for a jog. That's what I'd be doing. Fuck that. That is horrible. Imagine being in the middle of the woods and you just hear something like that. Are you just going to sit there in the tree? I would be shitting bricks. Listen, I've got a green lid. I've got a green beret. But if I am out hunting in the woods and I hear someone like that, mate, I'll get a new PB on my 10K.
It was too distinctly human to be coming from an animal or something similar. And while this was plenty terrifying on its own, it was only the beginning of a much more haunting sequence of events.
My God.
Because not only did the screaming continue for the next 30 minutes, it also became more manic and blood-curdling with each passing minute.
Oh my days. Oh,
Things only
mate.
became worse when they heard the sound of several gunshots coming from the same direction.
Oh my God. Oh my God. At least he's with a friend. If you weren't with your friend, you'd be running, wouldn't you? Or do you think you'd go and investigate? Part of me would be like, oh, should we go and have a look? Oh, but when you're in the moment as well, you're probably like, what the fuck is that? Oh my days. Someone's proper getting the rounds down. That sounds like someone's just been murdered. That's what it sounds like. That's horrendous.
Something not good's going on.
Yeah, no shit.
Now,
Something no good is going on. Not good is going on. You think? Mate, either stay up that tree and pretend you don't exist or start running.
All of this still could have had a perfectly reasonable explanation. Maybe the person
Could it?
screaming was being chased by a predator like a black bear and used their firearm in self-defense.
Maybe, yeah,
However,
true.
what made this explanation unlikely were the few coherent words that could be heard in between the screaming, with the voice yelling for help and saying phrases like, "I hate you." The voice became even more disturbing after the gunshots, shouting what sounded like, "Somebody help, you effing killed her," and other disturbing phrases.
Oh my god.
In addition to the screaming,
Oh my god. So you would have to call the police, right? You would have to call the police, show them this footage, give them the exact location you were at. That is horrendous.
shouting and gunshots, the two also heard the sound of multiple cars speeding off, after which everything went silent. By now, Ted and Nick were convinced they had just heard a horrific crime take place less than half a mile from their location. Unfortunately, they didn't have cell service in the wilderness to make a report, and the only way out of the woods was in the same direction as the screaming. Getting too close and alerting what could be an armed and dangerous group could have been life-threatening.
Yeah, true.
So they decided to stay silently hidden in the trees for the next few hours, and only moved back after it was completely dark out. The two eventually made it back to their car and drove to a spot with cell reception to report the incident.
Yeah.
However, from what I was able to find, the authorities weren't able to locate a body or even find any evidence of a crime at the location Ted and Nick provided,
Apart from the footage, no evidence.
leaving this disturbing encounter unresolved. People on the internet have come up with several theories to explain the situation, ranging from a firing squad execution to someone having a drug-fueled mental breakdown with a gun in their hand.
Oh my
But
god.
many have also accused the hunting public of faking the whole thing, which is a common strategy by failing YouTube channels to go viral and gain new viewers. However, the hunting public had a fairly consistent viewership before this video, and it didn't increase by a significant amount after the encounter.
Yeah, like they've got good views. Like there's no reason they would do something like that out of the blue, especially when it doesn't look like any of the other videos are kind of like that vibe.
They also have over 1,400 other regular hunting videos,
Yeah.
this being the only one with a strange encounter. Typically, channels that fake videos have other suspicious content. The screams
True.
also seemed far too primal and emotional for anyone to fake that convincingly. Put simply, what they heard was more than likely real. Unfortunately, it's been over 3 years since the incident, and we still have no answers on what it was all about.
Still no answers. Someone could have genuinely been hurt there, and the police did absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. We've got a few more stories to tell, but before we carry on, check out Chug, 10% off. I didn't want to put it at the start of the video. I'm going to start putting it in the middle. I think it would be easier for everyone so that the start of the videos aren't too long. But go and buy yourself a Chug. Best drinking vessel in the world. The middle part comes out, so you can watch this. I was using them in over Christmas with the family over, and I love them so much. They're so cool. Free customization, free bag, 10% off link down below. Also, if you love the outdoors, which if you're watching this video, you might never want to go in the outdoors again, but if you do love the outdoors, check out my new business, Morale. I've been working really hard on this drink for about 2 years now, actually. So go check it out if you haven't already. Link's right here. Other than that, let's carry on watching this video.
Every year around this time, the temperature drops, everyone around you starts coughing, and suddenly you're convincing yourself you're probably fine.
True, that happens because I've got kids. Also, if you like the idea of me putting the ads in the middle of the video rather than at the start and overloading it, let me know in the comments.
Yeah, that was me a few weeks ago.
Is this an
I
ad?
kept brushing off this awful sore throat
It is
because
an
I
ad.
really didn't feel like dealing.
Let's skip past the ad.
In
Okay.
November 2022, a bow hunter from Michigan named Brendan Fitzpatrick was camping alone inside his hunting blind, waiting for a deer to pop into view.
Classic.
When suddenly, he was startled by a voice he didn't recognize.
Okay.
Brendan looked outside to see who it was and came face to face with an angry-looking man pointing an AR directly at him.
Holy
Brendan
shit.
tried to explain the situation, but the man wasn't willing to hear any of it and kept becoming more and more hostile.
Coming out
Okay.
there right now. All right. But I just want to show you kind of why we're here. We pay good. We pay good money to hunt this property. We've been hunting it for years.
No, you ain't been moving for years. I've been here 8 years.
Do you live on this property right here?
Sir, you're not listening to me. I'm not.
I just want to talk to you. I'm sorry.
He then told Brendan to put his phone down and said what can only be interpreted as a threat.
Ooh.
Put your phone down.
You have an AR in front of me. I'm scared.
Put your phone down.
Dude, I'm scared as now.
Okay, well, it's going to be more scary. Put your phone down. Are you attacking me?
No, sir.
What?
No, sir. No, sir. I'm hunting. I'm hunting with...
Drop your phone.
Oh, my God.
Phone.
Sir,
Yo, what the fuck?
I'm bow hunting. I don't have any guns on me.
I know that.
Him saying, "Are you attacking me?" while Brendan was doing everything in his power to cooperate and stay calm came off as him looking for an excuse to
There is some. So obviously, I lived in America for 9 years. There are some unhinged people in America, and I don't know whether Americans will get upset at me about this, me saying this, but there are some unhinged people in America. Believe me, I have seen some people that they're just like people you know that you're gonna hear in the news at some point. And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's because there is a lot more space and you're not confined to social norms as much when you're living out in the woods, right? And you're living in the UK, everyone kind of abides by the same systems. And if you do anything different, you get shunned for it in a way. And because of that, I actually think that that's a negative as well. But in America, you can really be out in the middle of nowhere on your own for a very, very long time. And I think it does a lot of really bad stuff to people's mental health. And you see a lot of very unhinged people. Now, that being said, I'm sure it's the same in other places with a lot of wilderness like Russia or, you know, Australia, maybe even certain parts of the UK that I've not been to. But because I lived very rural in Maine for 7 years, I've seen some unhinged people where I'm just like, mate, you've got to screw loose.
open fire and claim self-defense later. He also kept ordering Brendan to get out of the area while repeatedly threatening him with his gun and his aggressive-sounding dog. Brendan explained that he wasn't trespassing, and that the land he was on was legally leased for bow hunting, which was true and was something he and his family had been doing for multiple years. However,
Interesting.
despite getting a reasonable explanation, the man refused to accept any of it and kept trying to intimidate Brendan. What made the encounter even more unsettling for Brendan was that the man refused to even state his name, making it clear that he had no interest in a civil conversation. Not only that, but he also name-dropped Chai Vang when threatening Brendan, a violent criminal who took the lives of 6 people and injured 2 more members of a hunting party in 2004.
What?
Put simply, the man was insinuating that he was willing to do the same to Brendan if he didn't comply. Fortunately, Brendan was able to stay composed enough to not aggravate
Good
the
on
man
him.
any further and live to see another day.
Good on him to stay composed in a situation like that. There's not many people that can do that.
Brendan later tried to press charges against the man, but the police weren't as helpful as he'd hoped.
Classic.
They essentially told him that he didn't have enough evidence to start a criminal case against the man and left
What are you talking about? It was all on video. This is how. You know what? How many times this happened? We watched a video the other day where there was a guy who started shooting up in a car parking lot in Walmart. He went to jail and then got released and then ended up shooting more people. How many times does this happen where people get let go and they're like, oh, we can't really do anything about it, and then something worse happens? It's horrendous, isn't it?
that. However, that wasn't even the end of it. Because a year later, on November 25, 2023, Brendan's brother encountered the same man while hunting in the area.
Holy shit.
Due to what happened the year prior, he made sure to position his tree stand more than 150 yards away from the site of the original confrontation.
Okay.
But for some reason, the man became even more hostile than last time
Oh,
and directly
shit.
opened fire without saying a word.
Oh my God.
Luckily, none of the shots actually hit Brendan's brother, and he was able to leave the area without getting injured. However, according to Brendan, the authorities didn't file any charges against the man yet again, citing
Holy
the same lack
shit.
of evidence. Though people online suspect that the perpetrator might have connections at the local police department, allowing him
Probably.
to threaten the lives of innocent people and not face any consequences. The only silver lining in this disturbing case is that no one was actually hurt. Brendan and his family have also returned to hunting, likely at a completely different location.
Some people are just absolutely unhinged, aren't they? I thought this video was going to be more creepy, but it's making me just more pissed off. But I will leave a link down below to the original video. Go over to the original channel and give it some love because I love watching videos like this. And do you know what's really annoying? This video is not going to get anywhere near as many views as my military stuff. But I would prefer to watch this stuff all day. All day. So if it means anything to you and you like watching this, like this video and all that good stuff, go to the original. Give them some love as well.
On September 10, 2024, at approximately 7:45 a.m., two fishermen were kayaking down Lake Emery in Franklin, North Carolina, when one of them spotted what appeared to be a log drifting in the water ahead. However, something about it didn't feel right. So Mark Wilkins paddled closer to take a better look, and that's when he made the horrifying discovery. It wasn't a log at all. In reality, he was staring at human remains that had likely been in the lake for multiple days by that point. He was still a bit unsure and thought that maybe it was some Halloween decoration that had found its way into the lake. But the closer he got, the clearer it became. The remains were certainly real. And after taking a couple of minutes to calm his nerves, Mark dialed 911 and told them about his discovery.
I am fishing on Lake Emery and I have come across a dead body.
Are you in the water?
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it.
Oh. Oh, that's horrible.
I mean, it looks like a dead body. I mean, there's a hand sticking up. There's a rotted face. I don't know if it's some kind of stupid Halloween spooky thing, but I'm not touching it. So
that's horrible.
Now, discovering human remains like this is disturbing enough on its own. But what made this find even more chilling was the dark implications it suggested. You see, authorities had also found the remains of a 19-year-old boy in the same lake just a month earlier. And if the two cases were connected, it meant that there was possibly a serial killer on the loose in the small town of Franklin.
That's
While
so
talking
sad.
to the police, Mark also remembered seeing a pair of Crocs lying near the boat ramp he used earlier that morning, adding another disturbing layer to an already unsettling situation.
That's always been like one of my worst kind of nightmares. I run a lot. I love running. It's like my thing. It's my active meditation. It helps with my mental health. And I ran a lot in Maine. Trails and along rivers and all this other stuff. And because I met so many unhinged people, I was always like, oh my God. Like, you hear horror stories of people stumbling across stuff like this. And I always thought, oh, if I saw something, it would just ruin me. Luckily, I never did. Although I did see a weird thing happen to me. If you don't know about that weird kind of demon thing I saw when I was running in Arizona, that's a whole nother story. I made a whole video on that. That was weird. Luckily, there was no bodies or anything around. But yeah, that's my worst nightmare, is seeing something like that when you're out and about. When you're in the military and you see something bad, you prep for it because you're on the job. Do you know what I mean? But if you're like going about your day and then it happens, and it's nice that these guys are not with their kids or anything like that. Imagine if you're out with your kid fishing and you saw something like that. Oh my God, horrible, isn't it?
That said, the reality of this case turned out to be far more tragic than disturbing. The person in the lake was later identified as 50-year-old Ethel Marie Ogle. According to the official reports, there was no foul play involved in her death.
That's so sad. That is so sad.
Duck hunting seems like one of the safest hunting styles out
That's just made me sad, that one. I wanted something spooky, but it's just made me really sad.
there, especially since it doesn't require hunters to spend any time deep in the wilderness, where running into angry predators like bears or bobcats is a constant concern. However, duck hunting, just like most other outdoor activities, comes with its own set of risks. Something Ethan from the Lucas Reinsch YouTube channel became well aware of in November 2020. He was out hunting ducks with a shotgun early in the morning while the sun was barely up.
I never really understood the whole duck hunting thing. Like, duck hunting, it's just a bit like, are they that tasty? Are ducks really that tasty? Like, venison, I get it, right? Moose, there's a lot of meat there. It can be... Duck. Listen, I love crispy duck from the Chinese. With the roll, with the little pancake roll things. Oh, the hoisin sauce. Lovely. But I don't think you're making crispy duck with this, are you? I don't know. There'll be someone in the comments who's a duck hunter. He'll let me know.
After staking out on a beach for a few hours and waiting for the ducks to gather, he found a target and managed to shoot it down. The duck fell a bit too far into the water, but without a boat, his only option was to wade into the water to retrieve it. And that's when everything went wrong. Ethan had plenty of duck hunting experience under his belt, but he wasn't completely familiar with this particular lake and didn't know about the sharp drop-off a few feet off the shore.
Oh,
so as he got closer to the duck, the ground suddenly dropped off from under his feet, leaving him struggling to stay afloat.
Oh my god, that's terrifying. Oh, that's terrifying.
He also knew how to swim, but that wasn't as big of a help as he'd hoped it to be.
Yeah, with
The
all that
biggest issue
gear.
at hand were his waders. They became filled with water, sinking him deeper while also making it near impossible to move in the water. Under normal circumstances, staying afloat is relatively easy for anyone who knows what they're doing. However, water-filled waders make this otherwise simple task infinitely more difficult.
If anyone's been swimming with gear on, you know. We had to do it in the Marines so much. We had to go swimming with boots. Just having boots on in general is hard to swim in. Waders? Oh my God.
Drowning becomes a stronger possibility with each passing second.
Oh.
To make matters worse, the water Ethan was in was also extremely cold. Even if he could stay afloat with heavy waders, he still risked contracting hypothermia and passing out before drowning. The cold water was also tensing up his muscles and making it difficult to keep moving.
Classic.
And to top it all off, he was also completely alone on this trip.
And he was
Having
probably panicking. When you're panicking in the cold water, it makes it worse. You start cramping more.
someone with you on any nature expedition.
So when I was in the Marines, you have to do this capsizing drills. You get all your gear on, boots and everything. You get in a boat, capsize it, then get on the other side of the boat, recapsize it so it's back again, jump in the boat. You do a bit of a debrief and then you swim to shore. And you do it in Poole, which is the Special Boat Service base. And the SBS lads actually facilitate it. And they basically get their waterproofs on, their swimsuits on, and they're in the water guiding you through shit you've got to do, right? When you've done it all, you've got to swim to shore. It's not that far. You're probably talking like 50 feet. Not that far swimming. However, you're in the ocean. For us, it was in December, and it was cold. It was so cold. Like, I do, like, if you see my Instagram and stuff, I do cold water baths and stuff like that. It's nothing compared to how cold the ocean is during this time of year here in the UK. And I remember we did the capsizing drills. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's freezing, but you're moving the boat. And then it's like, jump in the water, start swimming to shore. So I jump in the water and I start swimming. And like, my body's just slowing down. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm starting to not panic, but just think there's something wrong here. And my body's just slowing down. And one of the SBS lads clocks on and like, he's seizing up a bit. So he comes over to me and just slaps me across the head. Marine Jillings gets to the fucking show now. And just because he slapped me and he's an SBS lad, and I was like, what, 16? You're a bit like, holy fuck, oh my God. And then it kind of gives you that adrenaline. I swam to shore. And then you get in the shower. You turn the shower on hot and you're on fire. You get told not to put a hot shower on after you get out because it'll burn you. But no one listens, and then someone turns it on and they burn anyway.
He was also completely alone on this trip. Having someone with you on any nature expedition increases the chances of survival exponentially. Even if a partner isn't able to help directly, they can at the very least call for help. Ethan, however, didn't have that option. All he could do was keep his calm and keep swimming toward the shore with all his energy. Fortunately, this worked. After a brief but intense struggle, he was able to find the underwater ledge and make it out relatively unharmed.
Oh
and
my
while
God.
his determination and level-headed approach certainly helped, his surviving the incident was nothing short of incredibly lucky.
Yeah, that's lucky. That is lucky.
In May 2017, a
All right.
45-year-old Richard
I think this is the
Wesley was
last
out
one
boat
now,
hunting
innit?
in Ontario, Canada, when he suddenly came face to face with the last animal you want to see in the wilderness.
Oh, no.
He initially tried to lay low in the bushes and hoped the bear would
No.
walk away without noticing him. Unfortunately, he was in a wide open area, resulting in the bear seeing him and coming toward him. That
was always another, like, proper worry about when I'm, like, when I was running in Colorado, like, seeing a bear. Them things will destroy. I listened to this podcast of this guy who was, I think he was in Canada actually. He was hunting for a certain type of goat that's really, really difficult to get. And it's like, if you get one, it's like not many people in the world have managed to hunt this goat. And he was attacked by a bear and this bear ripped his face off. And yet he was able to get in his truck, crawl back. It was like attacked by this bear like 4 or 5 times. He got into his truck and the only thing that kept him alive was him turning Baby Shark on, because it reminded him of his kids. And then he got to a cabin and then he was airlifted out. But apparently it ripped all his face off and everything. Oh, horrible.
The only options he really had left at this point was to run away, which, considering a bear's top speed of up to 35 miles per hour or roughly 55 kilometers an hour, wasn't really possible. Or he could stand his ground and try to scare the bear away before it got too close.
I'd
Because if
shoot
the
an
bear
arrow at
actually
it.
decided to attack, Richard would have no real way of winning that fight. Black bears can generate a bite force of up to 1,000 psi with their 2.5-inch long teeth, which is enough to easily fracture a human skull or even sever the head completely from the neck. Adult black bears can also weigh up to 600 pounds or 272 kilograms.
Jesus
In other words,
Christ.
once a black bear is on top of you, there's no practical way to get it off.
No.
Plus, the weight alone can also cause asphyxiation within seconds. Not to mention the 2-inch long claws that can leave deep lacerations down to the bone.
They're
So
brutal.
even if the bear decided to leave Richard alone after a single claw swipe, he would have likely bled out right there before help arrived. With all this in mind, he stood up and
There
tried
it
to
is.
intimidate the bear. Unfortunately, this backfired horribly.
Get that arrow in it ASAP. Why would you not fight? Oh, he
Instead of running away, the bear lunged at Richard and slammed him to the ground. For a moment, he thought this was the end. But as he was falling down, something exceptionally lucky happened. The wooden bow Richard was holding in his hand got shoved into the bear's jaw. This not only kept the bear from shredding his arm, but biting into the wood also disoriented it enough to make it turn and leave Richard alone.
Oh
So,
my
despite coming
God.
dangerous-
Lucky man. You lucky man to get out of that alive. Christ almighty.
Close to losing his life, Richard was able to walk away with only a few minor bruises. But while he escaped physical harm, the psychological impact of this attack on him and his family was significant.
Yeah, I bet.
As he stated in an interview later, "We watched the video footage. My stomach just tightened, and my wife started crying. Instead of admitting that I'm scared, and I probably should have went and talked to a professional about what happened, but I just downplayed it."
Yeah, you can't do that,
said,
mate.
The experience also left Richard with a far deeper appreciation for the life he has.
Oh my God. I thought this video was going to be creepy. It ended up being horrendous with proper disturbing stuff. Oh my days. I will leave a link down below to the OG video. Go over to Chilling Scares. Give him a subscribe because that was a really, really good video. And I'd love to watch more videos like this. More than just military stuff, even though I'm sure this video will get barely any views. Check out Chug, 10% off. Link down below. Get your free customization and free bag. And also go check out Morale if you haven't already. It's definitely worth it. Buy yourself some drinks if you're in the UK. Other than that, I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.